We're talking about designing loyalty programs. I've been talking about designing loyalty programs, but in this video, I'm going to talk about the metrics. Why are we talking about metrics? Because you might get hung up on the how. How are we going to pull this off? How are we going to capture loyalty? But it's better to think about why we're actually trying to run a loyalty program. Bottom line is we're trying to increase certain metrics. Net retained revenue, lifetime value, we're trying to increase it by 10%, 20%, whatever that is, right? Once you know why, the how becomes clear, right? So this video, we're going to talk about the metrics, the baseline metrics, all the metrics surrounding it, and how you're going to kind of influence those metrics, what you're trying to monitor, report on, etc., etc. It's going to be a very more practical type of video discussing loyalty for your business. We are Dropkick Copy, Olympic level direct response marketers, World Federation champions. Our oversight translates well to all levels of the funnel, but it's the bottom of the funnel where retention exists that interests us the most. There's a link in the description box. You can watch my business partner interview some of our past clients, but finish watching the rest of this video first. If you've been following along with this channel, you will have noticed that I've made other videos on this topic, the topic of loyalty programs. I've showed you why you need to transcend beyond just having a points and tiers rewards type of system. There's two transactions. You want to develop structural loyalty, but there's limits to that too. And eventually you want to develop emotional loyalty as well. All of this makes you resilient. And this is about business resilience right now. Now, all of those things need to happen concurrently. The transactional loyalty needs to be there, structural, emotional loyalty needs to be there, needs to be there. And there are mechanics that you implement, right? And the mechanics serve to create behaviors, engagement, and signals that you can measure and track, right? And when you're monitoring everything, you can manage everything, right? So I want to give you an idea of what type of metrics you're trying to monitor and manage in this video. So I'm going to put up a list on the screen that's going to list out the metrics. You're going to notice that the main metric that means something to us is net revenue retained, customer lifetime value, and also repeat purchase rate. We're trying to optimize those things and improve those things, right? But there's second order metrics too, which are more diagnostic. They give you a sense of the health of your loyalty efforts, the health of your loyalty program. Those are listed there as well. Those main metrics are what you're trying to really improve, right? So you're trying to improve the net revenue retained. So the people that bought a product with you 90 days ago, have they spent more with you 90 days later, right? So are you retaining revenue, or are you losing revenue over time? Are people spending less with you? You want to get a sense of that with the NRR. The lifetime value is obviously how much each individual person has spent with you over their lifetime, right? Who spent more with you more than others, right? You want to know who that is. And there's also repeat purchase. It helps you get a sense of how often repeat purchases occur, right? These are the main core of your loyalty, right? The diagnostic metrics are more, they add more detail. They get you a better picture, a more detailed picture, right? So that's why you're trying to understand things like what is the average order value per person, what is the redemption rate if you're giving them points and rewards, how often are they redeeming those? Also gross margin per order, how much are you making from this specific group that's in your loyalty program? Are you making more or less? Right, because essentially you're discounting the next purchase in some way, right? That's what loyalty programs incentivize, that type of thing, right? So these are your feeler metrics. But there's more. You also wanna establish cohorts and epochs, time periods. Meaningful time periods. Post-purchase, 90-day post-purchase period. What happens then? 120-day, 365-day post-purchase. What happened? You wanna track milestones. What did they do? Did they view the document you sent them after purchase about the product? Did they read it? Okay, have they done that? Log that, Track all those things, right? You also want to identify cohorts that are producing more value than most, right? So you'll be tapping into, the LTV data and such Who's the 80-20? Who's the 20% of the buyers that are contributing to 80% of profits and revenue and stuff, right? There's more you can do. There's more information you can gather here, right? This stuff that I just mentioned, they're not the baseline metrics. They're more, I'd call them ancillary extras, right? But they're nevertheless important. What you're trying to do is you're trying to look at time, the time it takes for things to happen, and you could be measuring in days and hours even, right? What is the time to value? The time to value depends on your product, right? And again, the type of loyalty, right? Because there's layers, right? There's a transactional value they experience when they buy the thing. It worked, the card went through, nothing was declined, I got the order delivered, perfect, right? Then there's the structural value. How long did it take for them to experience structural value? How long did it take for them to experience the dashboard, the way you set things up, the presets that you've implemented for them, personalized to them as such, right? There's also the emotional loyalty, but since they put, how long did it take for them to feel happy that they bought or complimented after purchasing your product? Like if you take the example of shoes or something, how long did it take for them to feel break their last personal record, PR or whatever, right? In maybe jogging or whatever, right? That's an emotional win, right? So you're trying to measure time to value in all those various different forms, because obviously faster time to value impacts retention. This is across the board. The sooner people get to realize the benefits of dealing with you, confirming their decision to buy from you, confirming their decision to invest in your brand, the sooner they experience all that, the sooner it is for them to see the idea in their own minds that this was a good idea and I should continue to buy from them, right? So this matters. Okay, so you've got your baseline metrics defined, you've got your little milestones listed out, the cohorts, you've defined all of these things. All of these it's mapped out. Now you just got to fill in the blanks basically. So what does that mean? Now's the part where you get creative. Now is the how part. Because you've defined the why and the what and stuff. Now you can say, how are we going to accomplish this? How are we going to fill in the blanks here? Okay, so you've got to get creative. It depends on your product, what you're selling. Is it B2C, B2B, whatever it is, right? You have to implement the mechanics that generate the activity that produces the metrics that we can then take a look at. At the transactional level, you're trying to implement the points, the rewards, the discounts. But you're also trying to avoid becoming a coupon engine, just a place to like get a discount and run away, you know what I mean? Get something for cheap. You're trying to avoid that, but that's what you're trying to implement, okay, generally speaking, at the transactional level. At the structural level, you're trying to implement things that make it harder for them to switch or inconvenient for them to switch. Things that operate in the background, that's what it usually looks like. So Amazon Prime, its interface is set up to make it so convenient for you to buy that you don't want to switch. It's like, I just do this, with one single click of the button, I can buy the thing right now. Why should I go anywhere else? They've got you locked in structurally. And then for the emotional level, that's all the stuff that happens in the foreground. The community building stuff, the identity acquisition stuff, being acknowledged, all those types of things, right? That's the stuff that makes them identify with you, almost anthropomorphize you, humanize you, and relate to you at an emotional level, whatever that means. A little caveat, it depends on the product and the service you're offering, right? Not everything lends itself well to emotional loyalty mechanics, but it's possible to do generally in some way or some form. So now you've got targeted actions that you want to see, right? Those milestones we talked about. You've got your metrics that you want to track, those baseline metrics we talk about, and you've got the mechanics that you need to implement to make all of this happen, right? So now it's just a case of pressing start and running the program, running everything, okay? And you want to run it for the epoch, the duration of the epoch, 90 days, 120 days, whatever that is, okay? Afterwards, you want to come back to the table and look at all the feedback you've gotten from this activity, from this program. You want to put it into some sort of profit and loss statement, right? So there needs to be a P&L for the loyalty program, right? You want to separate the two cohorts. The first cohort is the people that joined the program, the people who didn't, right? And you should be able to see what is the margin per order we made on these guys, these people who are in the loyalty program versus the ones who aren't. Are we making more margin on them, right? Also, is there a difference? Does the cost of acquisition change based on the people in the loyalty program versus the others, right? And that's going to get you an overall sense. Once you add up the numbers and subtract whatever you need to subtract, run the formulas, you're going to get a sense of whether this loyalty program is working or not. Okay, if it is working, the people who signed up to the loyalty program should be spending 2 to 2.5, maybe 3 times more than the people who didn't. That's industry standards. If it isn't doing that for you, then something needs to be tweaked or something needs to be stopped completely. And this is your loyalty operating system. And like an operating system, it permeates across all of your business. The brand people have something to take care of. The product people have something to take care of. Finance people have something to take care of, because they've each got something to do with the different layer of the loyalty, the transactional layer, the structural layer, and even the emotional layer, right? So everybody needs to be involved. Everybody needs to be involved in the final meetings or the periodic meetings where everybody gets together and figures out, is this thing working or is it not? And adjustments need to be made, and made fast, because the thing about a loyalty program is it creates liabilities for you, and you don't want to get bogged down in liabilities for no reason, right? That's really what it is. So just to conclude, remember how we got here. Over the course of multiple videos, I was trying to drill it into you that you want to transcend this idea. You want to go beyond this idea of like rewards, points, and discounts, right? Those are just liabilities, and you're essentially just bribing people to stay with you. It's like payola. People aren't really loyal. They're just here for the rewards, right? You don't want that. You want real resilience, because it's competitive out there and people can copy everything you do, even your loyalty program. So you need to do something more. You need to go above and beyond and be very deliberate about how you design this program and implement it like an operating system, right? For you, it's going to look like an operating system. From the customer's perspective, it's going to look like you're just the infrastructure of your business. That infrastructure creates loyalty, transactional, emotional, structural. They don't want to switch to anybody else, even if they're doing the exact same thing as you do, because there's this additional layer of emotion that they feel towards you. They just like dealing with you, like what you stand for and such, etc., etc. All right. So this video, I hope it gave you something to actually try and implement yourself. I hope it made sense. Watch the other videos I have on loyalty. I've made multiple now. Especially there's some interesting ones I have about the loyalty in cryptocurrency. Interesting subject. But yeah, until the next video, take it easy.